Okay, we've been talking with Josh Ellithorpe of Apcera about the new Apcera Platform Community Edition, and we just looked at the web version of it, and now I thought it would be good for us to take 15 minutes or so to go through the command line
That sounds great.
version of it.
There's two remaining things that I want to go through. Definitely the command line, but I also want to do a quick synopsis of the developer portal, kind of show people what we put together and where they access more information about the platform. So let's start with the terminal. APC is our command line. It has a lot of commands. It can deploy applications, it can import packages, it can build new software, it can stage different pieces. So we'll go through a couple of basic use cases. Let's take a look at the jobs in the system. This is just a list view. We can see our to-do app that we deployed earlier. And then we see this to-do Postgres thing. That's the semantic pipeline that was paired with it. And we also have Redis. Now, I want to show you how the ephemeral credentialing works, but I also want to show you one of the things that I find very important. And that is, right now, a lot of environments allow you to SSH into jobs that are running in your production environment. This is, to me, a giant anti-pattern, as going and manually touching a production instance means I don't get an audit log. Mm-hmm. It means I don't know what actions happened. Mm-hmm. And it means the state of that thing is different than the expected state when I deployed it. So when you need to debug something, it's very nice to not have to SSH directly into the thing in prod, but to be able to create a clone of the thing that was in prod that is attached to the same data services that you can play around with, that is not attached to a route. It doesn't get load balanced. It doesn't see traffic. So I'm going to do that with the to-do app and apc-console, and we're going to do a console of our to-do app. Oops, it's app-console. Sorry about that. So we're going to go ahead, and it's creating a copy. It's letting me know what the start command would have been to start this job. But this is an exact representation of what the job would look like if it was running. So there's an app directory that has the app in it. And if we take a look at the environmental variables, we can see that we have a database URL that is ridiculous. It says that it's at 169.254.221.214. Well, that is an unroutable address. And that is our semantic pipeline. And only this job can connect to it. We can also see that the usernames and passwords look very ugly. We can see that, user A6BFDZ, right? So what happens when I leave this, right? Remember those creds. So let's just remember the first part of that username, A6B, right?
Okay, yeah.
So we're going to exit. It's going to delete my little console environment. I'm going to create a new one.
Okay.
And magically my usernames and passwords have changed because they aren't real. They aren't your real database. They're just what I give you for now.
Just for now.
Here's what you get for this job instance, which means every instance has unique credentials, that none of them work in real life, that when your developers are developing their applications, they don't need to know the real creds. That means you don't have to rotate the passwords when they leave.
Oh, gosh.
It means you don't have to do all this excessive management that usually goes along with the security profile.
Which just really complicates the identity
of
the entire system.
Absolutely. If I have to rotate passwords, then I have to figure out a way to send those to the people that actually need the new passwords.
It's just rife with vulnerabilities.
Exactly. So I could take these URIs and post them on Twitter, and they don't work.
Yeah.
My dev, when I turn them off from the platform, can't get to the database. Right. So being able to provide these kinds of protections, and then we also offer advanced features on the semantic pipelines like automatically logging certain types of queries, also callback infrastructure. So you can say, when I see a drop request, please send that payload to this JSON based web application, and it will give you an answer on whether you should allow it. To put your own custom controls on your data stores based on the queries it's seeing in real time. No other platform on the market has that level of flexibility with regards to controlling your data access. And we think that these types of controls are extremely important moving forward for big businesses to trust the infrastructure that they're using for fast deployments. So we can go ahead and remove that again. It deleted this temporary capsule that was running my job. And we can see that, all of the things we had in the console. I want to see some logs. It looks like Node.js logs are not that happy. Well, not that informative. Job logs, maybe the Redis service. Ooh. Did I delete the Redis service? Oh, it's Redis. So we can see, the Redis logs and what's outputting and, do all of these things as a first-class citizen. Now, another thing that we've tried to do is be the best possible place to deploy your application, your Docker applications for an enterprise customer. And the way that we qualify that is Docker is a great tool. It provides really great service for a lot of developers. But there's things you have to bring with it to make it useful for a large-scale system. Mm-hmm. So things like persistent volumes that work across multiple cloud providers. They don't offer anything like that by default. A networking model that is, just works for hybrid use cases. They have networking plugins, and you have to pick your networking plugin. And you have to do additional integrations on top of Docker to get yourself to a state where it really is useful and robust. Well, we've made a lot of these decisions for our customer. And instead of saying we use company X's solution, we look at use cases. We look at what needs to be supported. I need a way to create volumes that work across multiple clouds with reasonable locking behavior so that they work. I need a networking stack that allows for layer 2 connectivity if I need it, and that's what our virtual networks do. Or maybe I just need a NAT model. So we provide both and the use cases for them. So instead of letting the user bring to the table the plugins they want to use, we've already put in what we think is the correct way to do that so that it's even easier to get started with your Docker images. So say that I want to run the Postgres image. I think it's just Postgres. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying, go find me a Postgres image, call it Postgres, and use our NFS provider to automatically provide and provision volumes for this Docker container. So it's looking for some image metadata. It might be PostgreSQL. It may fail to find that. No, it found it. So now it's downloading Postgres, and it knows that if the Docker file requested any volumes, automatically create one in the system, attach it to the job, make it all just work so that you don't have to worry about it. Oh, look at that. My Postgres is working. And this is with full file system persistence. This is a fully working Postgres database, not a toy. And in hybrid environments, I could even move this across different hosts and it would still work. The user didn't have to set up Docker. They didn't have to set up any of the advanced Docker features. They didn't have to worry about what plugins and what edge cases they had. The system just works. And it uses our network isolation. It provides all of these additional security and policy controls, and it's completely invisible to the user and just functions. This is the dream to us of a modern PaaS, is that everything is possible, and the things that you do most often are easy and automated.
Can you create your own automations as well?
Oh, absolutely. So inside of our stager tier, we actually have a stager API that allows you to create any stagers you want. So you have some custom staging logic. You have custom ways that you need to ingest jobs into the system. All of that is documented and extremely easy to do. In fact, some stagers, like a Rails stager, actually, I could show you a sample stager that I wrote. Why not? If it would type. And we're going to just go into sample apps. This is a public repository of a bunch of different samples that we provide. And we have a Rails MySQL application. And it includes a custom stager with it because we wanted some more examples of our stagers. And so we require a special API if you use our Ruby stuff. Mm-hmm. You can write these in any language. You do not have to use this API, but this API actually abstracts out all the HTTP calls for you. Makes it trivial to run these things. So when I create this new stager, and I look to see if I have Ruby. If I don't, I'm going to need to restart with Ruby. I'm going to look for build tools like GCC or Make, etc. So if it doesn't have it, it should restart. And when it restarts, those dependencies will be part of the stager. I want to download the thing that the user sent me. So I call stager.download. I want to extract their code into some directory. I'm going to extract it into an app directory. And then I'm going to run bundler. I'm going to run some stuff that is needed to stage my app. I'm going to set up a database YAML file that automatically sets up the URIs for my database YAML. I can run any custom database migrations or setup scripts that I need. I can run any tests that I want to run. I will set a start command on how I would start this workload. And then I'm going to say where the workload was saved in the file system. Set up any environmental variables. In this case, I wanted it to be for production. And then I say that it's done. And this is what it took for me to write something that deploys Rails applications with assets and database migrations included. And there's nothing complicated here. And in fact, once someone's familiar with our Stager API, it takes less than a half an hour usually. So I added Meteor support recently. We have a sample stagers project as well. So we can see that there is stagers. And we have a bunch of little sample stagers. So we have an example of how to use our custom API. We have one that integrates with little bits. This is what we did at DockerCon when we won the hackathon there.
Okay.
The Meteor stager. We want to stage some Jekyll applications. You want to stage something with New Relic. All of these things are very, very easy to plumb into the platform.
Excellent. Excellent.
So the last thing I wanted to show really was the developer portal.
Okay.
So this is brand new. This launched with Community Edition. And it's just at developer.apcera.com. It includes video tutorials from our product team with, how to create apps from Docker images, managing resources, what our package system looks like, etc. It also has links to our community where you can ask questions. It has links to our other open source contributions. So if you go to OSS, you see that, we have Nats, we have Kerma, and then we also have Libretto, which is our Golang library for creating virtual machines. We launched that with the Community Edition. And our sample apps, our package scripts, our stagers, and everything you really need to get started with the platform is available in the developer portal. And we're always looking for feedback on a lot of these pieces. You can see the different REST APIs, the service gateway APIs, and really is that starting point for a dev to get familiar with the system.
Excellent. Well, this has been really helpful, Josh. Let me try again. Excellent. Well, this has been really helpful, Josh. Thanks so much for showing this to us, everything new about the Apcera Community Edition and giving us that overview about it, including the developer platform.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And, us being able to release something free to the community that is feature complete. It has a very compelling feature set for free. We're finally able to give it out. I've been writing open source software for over 20 years. I give away everything I do personally. I'm not a huge fan of most commercial software. And it took a while for me to really put together a use case and a business case for us at Apcera to be able to give away a lot of what we're doing and show developers all these advanced features we've been working on. And, we're really big fans of Kubernetes and some of these other platforms. But there's features that we have in our platform that really are not available anywhere else. And we really wanted to get that visibility out there, get to show it to people. And more importantly, the license that we give for the Community Edition allows you to run production scale clusters. You can run production workloads. You can do whatever you want with this software. And we gave it a very liberal license. And it is free as in beer. It is not open source, but you can use it for anything you want with no restrictions. And we feel like this is going to provide a lot of value to a lot of devs out there.
Well, Josh, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.